Hakai.
Previously on Dragon Ball Hakai, after Vegeta reveals his most powerful transformation, the Ultra Ego, Cooler also shows off his final trump card, the Ultimate Golden Form. At the beginning of the confrontation of these two forms, the Golden Demon has the advantage against the Prince of the Saiyans, but Vegeta increases his powers even more and fights intensely against his enemy. The battle is brutal, even culminating in the partial destruction of Cooler's body, and with Vegeta having one of his eyes pierced by the enemy in addition to his own body. Deciding that none of them would be able to keep this fight going much longer, Cooler makes the Saiyan a proposition, a final clash with an attack using all the power they still have. Even fearful, Vegeta accepts the proposal and the two prepare for the final attack. Meanwhile, in Universe 6, Odisu, the great mage of the elements and also the leader of the 5 great celestial mages, reveals his face to Goku, Lei, and Kiboru. This face belongs to Anzen, the former leader of the Celestial Guardians. By showing his face, Odisu threatens the trio of Universe 6 gods, vowing to be the last face they will ever see. What does Odisu intend to do with Goku, Lei, and Kiboru? And how will the power clash between Vegeta and Cooler end? Find out now. Chapter 15, Odisu, the great mage of the elements. As he reveals his face, Odisu assures those standing before them that this will be the last thing they see. Kiboru and Lei fear for that threat. The assistant shows more fear while Supreme Kai tries to maintain a dignified confrontation, showing her repulsion to the invader of her universe. Goku, understanding well the gravity of the situation and the danger that this enemy represents, asks the others to leave this enemy with him. Kiboru tells Goku that he doesn't support his decision to fight. After all, as the assistant said in the last chapter, he has no chance of winning. But if that's his decision as God of Destruction, he can't stop it. Then he turns to his student and boss, beckoning her to leave with him. But Lei refuses. No way! She's the goddess of this universe too. What kind of goddess would she be if she left all the hard work to Mr. Goku's hands? Odisu seems to be very interested in these words of the goddess of creation, as if it was something he already wanted to know. Goku notices this and wonders worriedly if Odisu knows what's between him and Lei. Very alarmed and worried, Goku yells at the other two to flee immediately. He knows about the link between the Kaioshin and the Hakaishins. This revelation obviously alarms the other two, but it's too late. Odisu, with his eye emanating flames, fixes his gaze on one of them, saying who will be first. The flame's gaze was focused on Kiboru, who receives that threat with great fear. Goku yells for the Kaioshin's assistant, telling him to be careful, but there's nothing Kiboru can do about it. And just with the Celestial Mage's gaze, his body starts to burn as a great pain begins. Lei screams for her assistant, desperate. Kiboru's pain intensifies as smoke begins to rise from his skin and the blood vessels in his eyes become even more dilated. Lei reaches out to him and Kiboru does the same, as if in a desperate attempt for help. Their hands get closer, but when they touch, Kiboru's hand starts to fade into ash. Lei screams even more desperately, asking please, so that it doesn't happen. While continuing to extend her hand to her assistant, trying to reach him, her hand approaches the face of the man who screams desperately in pain. But as she brings her hand closer, Kiboru's face also starts to crumble, until in the next second there's nothing left for Lei to touch. The Kaioshin falls to her knees, looking at her own hands, which are smeared with the ashes of a subordinate and mentor. Lei closes her eyes, shedding her divine tears. Goku asks Odisu why he did that. Kiboru was harmless to him. But for the Celestial Mage, this is a foolish question. He was an enemy, and enemies must be slaughtered. Completely overcome by her fury and suffering, Lei recklessly advances towards the mage, swearing that she will finish him off. Goku yells for his counterpart, asking her not to do this. Lei completely ignores him as she approaches Odisu at full speed as he remains still, apparently not sensing any threat coming from her. The leader of the Celestial Mages gives Universe 6's Kaioshin just one look. The next moment, Lei is already on her knees. She feels great pain, stating in thoughts that she feels as if her body is being completely destroyed. Lei screams as her pain intensifies, and then blood begins to leak from her body, spewing from the goddess's eyes, ears, nose, and mouth. As this happens, Lei immediately realizes that she won't be able to bear it, so the worst will happen. But her counterpart comes to the rescue, approaching her flying quickly. Goku grabs Lei as he lifts her off the ground and starts carrying her, heading towards the top of the cave. Goku points his hand towards the ceiling and shouts, Hakai. The explosion can be seen outside the volcano, and it is through this location that the God of Destruction and the Goddess of Creation escape, leaving a crater in the immense rock structure in the process. In a field nearby, they land. While leaving Lei on the ground, Goku asks her to please let him take care of this enemy. If she stays, she can be killed, and if she's killed, so is he. If that happens, that bastard can't be defeated. Now that they are out of the volcano, her senses have returned to normal, so she can teleport back to her planet or some other location far away. Lei looks at Goku for a moment, a look that indicates perhaps sadness or frustration or both. She closes her eyes as she remembers what happened to Kiboru. It was her fault, but touching her shoulder in a consoling gesture, Goku promises to make him pay for what he did to Kiboru, but he needs to do it alone. Turning his back on her as a sign of the end of that conversation, he asks her to leave at once, before the enemy tries anything else. Convinced by Goku's words, while drying the blood that drips from her face, Lei agrees, assuring that she will no longer get in Goku's way. She promises that she will keep an eye on the fight from afar and will help in case Goku needs it. And finally, she asks him to make this bastard pay for what he did to Kiboru. The protagonist promises again that he will. Lei leaves there using the Hakai. In the next moment, from the top of the great volcano, a powerful lightning bolt comes out. In the next second, the lightning is revealed to be Odisu, who lands in front of Goku surrounded by electricity. The celestial mage stares at Goku with his eyes emanating such an element. After returning his eyes to normal, Odisu notes that they are finally alone, apparently enjoying it. Curious, Goku asks Odisu to answer one thing. He knows the connection between the life of a god of destruction and a supreme Kai, doesn't he? When he found out that the goddess of the universe is Miss Lei, why didn't he kill her instead of Kiboru? If he had done that, he wouldn't have had to go to the trouble of standing up to him. Odisu repudiates that idea. Does Goku really think he would resort to such a shameful tactic? His pride as a god would not allow him to resort to such a cowardly tactic. Furthermore, the reason he didn't kill Lei is the same reason he didn't leave that place the moment he found Hiru's cocoon. He wants to fight Goku. Goku doesn't understand. Why does Odisu want to fight him so badly? But as far as Odisu is concerned, Goku will still not understand. He doesn't need to answer all the questions. He came to fight, not to talk. Goku agrees with this idea. Besides, he wants to make him pay for everything that the mage has done. Vegeta and Cooler face each other as they exude a dense amount of energy, preparing to honor the agreement they made a short time ago, to attack using whatever power they have left. Both begin to move at the same time, each flying in the opposite direction. Vegeta, despite all his injuries and fatigue, has a smile on his face, looking forward to what is about to happen. They fly to the ends of the central planet until they finally decide to stop. Vegeta stops his flight and spreads his arms, a stance we all know all very well. Cooler, getting there, he wanted to go, also stopped his locomotion and points his index and middle fingers up, creating a small sphere of energy that in the next second becomes a globe of power much larger than him. Vegeta begins to emanate his power in an aura of energy so powerful that it sends large electrical waves around him. Closing his arms, he accumulates his energy in the palm of his hands, even hitting the ground with the remnants of his exuberant power. At the same time, the two adversaries warn each other, "Here I come." Vegeta fires his powerful final flash, while Cooler unleashes the equally powerful attack he calls Galactic Devastation. The attacks violently collide in the center of the planet, causing an air current and an impact wave that severely shakes the entire surrounding environment. While doing his best to maintain the power struggle, Vegeta reflects in his thoughts about the opponent before him. Vegeta says, "Cooler, in my childhood, I heard many legends about you, the legendary warrior that even Cold and Frieza feared." Efforts equal to his opponent, Cooler also reflects about him and says, "Vegeta, the Prince of the Saiyans, a race I've always looked down on. In all my might, I have always regarded you as inferior, just ants compared to me." Vegeta's final flash starts pushing back Cooler's galactic devastation a bit. This is because he has further increased his effort, and as he does so, he continues his reflection. "I've trained very hard all my life. I've always pushed my limits, and reached levels of power I could never have even dreamed of. Still, you can match me." Cooler also increases his effort, this time managing to push the enemy's attack, while thinking, "The Saiyan's power was completely despicable compared to my family's. Still, even though I have surpassed my power thousands of times in recent times, you still managed to reach a level that is making me have such a hard time." The two energy attacks are again in complete balance. Vegeta continues his reflections. "I always wondered if those legends about how terrifying you were really true, but today I realized that it was all true, or maybe even less than you deserve." Cooler also continues, "When Frieza told me about the power of the Saiyans, I didn't believe it. I thought I was exaggerating, but now I see that it's all true. No, it's much bigger than he said." With an inevitable admiration of his opponent, Vegeta finishes his thought. As much as I hate you, and so does everyone in your family, I have to admit, you're amazing. Also unable to not stop admiring his opponent, Cooler finishes his thoughts. I'll never say that out loud, but I have to admit, your great pride is worthy of recognition, Saiyan. Both increase the power of the attacks. The final moment has arrived. Vegeta calls his opponent to an end, suggesting they get this over with. Cooler agrees. While using all the power they have left, they both scream, giving everything they have. The battle between Vegeta and Cooler seems to finally come to an end, along with the last remaining planet of the quintet of planets called Planets Quinn. Who will win this battle? Meanwhile, the battle between Goku and Odissu is about to begin. Can Goku defeat the leader of the 5 great celestial mages and avenge Kiboru's death as he promised to Lei? Find out in the next chapters of Dragon Ball Hakai. And that was Chapter 15 of Dragon Ball Hakai. Tell us what you think of the chapter in the comments, and also comment your doubts, questions for us that you have, and we'll answer them in future videos. Remember that all Dragon Ball Hakai chapters are available on our website, dbhakai.com, and maybe by the time this video is being published, Chapter 16 may already be available there, as the production of a video takes some time. Pay us a visit there to read Dragon Ball Hakai, and take the opportunity to check out the other content about the Dragon Ball franchise that we have there. You may like something and learn better about everything involving the franchise. Well, I'll end this video here. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget your like and subscribe to the channel to become 150,000 subscribers. Until next time, goodbye.